All right, let's talk about sizing a whole house inverter. Picking the right one seems pretty simple on the surface, but getting it wrong? That can be a really expensive, really frustrating mistake. If you've ever found yourself wondering why your brand new power system just can't seem to handle your appliances, well, you're about to find out exactly why and how to get it right from the start. So imagine this. You've got your whole system set up. You go to flip the switch and nothing. Your brand new energy-efficient fridge won't start. Maybe your well pump just kind of hums sadly. It's a maddening moment, right? But listen, the problem probably isn't your appliance. 9 times out of 10, it's an undersized inverter. Let's break down why that is.
You know, if you look online, most of the guides out there are, frankly, a bit shallow. They'll talk about brands, maybe they'll get into pure sine waves versus modified, and that's all important stuff, but they almost always skate right past the single most critical factor that determines whether your system will actually work when you need it most.
And here it is. This is it. The number one mistake people make is they completely ignore the massive difference between the power an appliance uses to just run along and the huge gulp of power it needs just to get started. And that right there is the whole ballgame. This brings us to the core concept, the real secret sauce, understanding the difference between surge power and continuous power. Seriously, getting this one distinction right is the key to designing a system, whether it's for off-grid living or just backup power, that won't let you down.
Okay, I love this analogy because it makes it so clear. Think of it this way. Continuous load? That's your marathon runner. It's the steady, consistent pace your appliance keeps while it's humming along. But that surge load, that's a sprinter launching off the blocks. It's a massive, short burst of pure power needed to get motors spinning. Your inverter has to be built for that sprint, not just the marathon.
And wow, look at these numbers. This is where the theory gets real. Just look at that refrigerator. It sips a tiny 200 watts while it's running, but to kick that compressor on, it demands 1,200 watts. That's 6 times its running power. Same story for well pumps, air conditioners, anything with a motor. If your inverter's surge rating can't deliver that massive peak demand, even for a second, that appliance is never going to start. Period.
So, how do we actually get this right? It's not about guessing. I'm going to walk you through a super simple 4-step plan. This will take you from doing a basic audit of everything in your house all the way to confidently picking the right piece of hardware for the job.
Here's the roadmap. First up, you're going to do a load audit. Literally list every single appliance and find its continuous and surge watts. Next, add up all those continuous watts and tack on a good 20–25% safety buffer. Step 3, and this is the crucial one, find the one appliance with the biggest, baddest surge load and make sure your inverter's peak rating can handle it. And finally, we'll calculate what all this means for your batteries. Speaking of batteries, you're going to need this little formula right here. Don't worry, don't let the letters scare you. It's way easier than it looks. This just tells you how much DC current, how many amps your battery bank has to pump out. It's just your total power load divided by your system voltage times your inverter's efficiency. Simple as that. Let's put some real numbers to it. Say you've got about 800 watts of stuff running at the same time. You're using a 48-volt battery system, and your inverter is about 90% efficient, which is pretty standard. Well, that means your batteries need to supply a steady 18.5 amps. And knowing that number is absolutely critical for what comes next, keeping things safe. And this is a topic that gets overlooked way too often. Look, an undersized inverter might just not work, which is annoying, but an electrical system with undersized wiring and undersized fuses, that isn't just inefficient, it is actively incredibly dangerous. The stakes here are just so high. If your wires are too thin for the amount of current you're pulling, they can get hot. Really hot. We're talking a serious fire hazard. On top of that, you get something called voltage drop, which basically starves your inverter of the power it needs. That can cause everything to fail prematurely and could even damage your expensive equipment and your batteries. And here's another little energy vampire you have to watch out for. Idle draw. Your inverter is always on, right? And even when it's not actually powering anything, it's sipping a little bit of phantom power just to stay alive. It might not seem like much, but over 24 hours, it adds up. It can silently bleed your batteries dry overnight. So, as we start to wrap this up, if there's one thing you take away from all this, it's that you have to put safety first. Getting the sizing right isn't just about performance or convenience. It's about building a system that's going to work reliably and, most importantly, safely for many years to come.
And I really cannot stress this enough. We're doing this explainer to give you the knowledge to ask the right questions and plan your project, but electricity is not a hobby. It's inherently dangerous. So please, before you buy a single wire or tighten a single screw, consult a qualified professional electrician. Make sure everything is done to code and is 100% safe.
So, after everything we've talked about, it all really boils down to this one simple question. Don't just ask if your system can run your house. Dig deeper. Ask yourself, is it truly ready for the surge?